Have you ever crossed that bridge?
Yes, I have actually.
I have.
Oh my god, can you believe that?
おはようございます。新居アップパイロットです。今日はちょっと機材のトラブルがあり、離陸がちょっと遅れました。
So the game with the Heartland covered bridge is as you drive through it, you're supposed to be able to hold your breath from one end to the other, and it's harder than you think. Well, 391 meters is like 0.4 of a kilometer. So someone do the math. If you go pretty slow, because it's a wooden covered bridge. So
今日のフライト区域は、うわまた来たな。うわ落ちる落ちる。うわ
my own slow tempo.
What is this? Is this something that perhaps came out just today?
Whoa,
No.
look at this.
Maybe.
Beautiful.
A hot air balloon in Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Finally, we have a hot air balloon again in Microsoft Flight.
Did you make that?
Yes.
That's great. Thank you to High Performance Group for this new add-on.
Yes.
Sadly, it's not going 400 knots. Air Force Proud 95.
Yet.
Well, if you fiddle with the wind speeds, some speed
We can try.
might do looping speed.
No?
Super Typhon, this livery was
お
actually
なんか
created
朝
by
もや
Gear
みたいなの
himself
がかかってる
yesterday.
けど、今お
He
昼なの
really
か
went
ね。
above and beyond to showcase this for today's stream.
There we go. We at least go 70 knots. That's something.
Yeah.
まただ。
Captain Rash is back. He got his airplane all fixed up in record time.
That was not embarrassing at all.
Nah.
Nah, it's fine.
All of us hadn't done it.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh.
glad I missed.
Oh.
Not gonna show that. Alright, there we go.
なんかすげえ楽しそうだ。
Yeah, no, it's yeah.
何が楽しいのかちっともわかりま
I
せんが、
may or
楽し
may
そうな
not
ことはいい
bump
こ
into
と
the
です
only
ね。
high building in the whole area.
Only wow.
See, Andrew is flying with Captain Arash. Andrew, of course, another Canadian from Nova Scotia, another East Coaster along with Arash.
Brad Barron is also flying with me right there.
Oh, yeah, Brad Barron's another maritimer.
切れた。
So East
Oh,
Coast
no.
represents my home province.
エアコン安定せんことにな。
Born and raised in New Brunswick, and then
Earlier,
out west.
I also saw Celestial Navigator spawning in, who is the creator of CellNav app.
Is that the app you used?
Yes,
Mm.
yes.
楽しいですな。
Actually, I have to show this right
何
now.
がいるか
since
な
I
飛行
mentioned
機
him.
は。
I received a gift from him. It's a kit, basically. It's a sextant. And yeah, I received this gift because I successfully managed to fly from Leh, from New Papua Guinea to Howland Island with Celestial, using just only Celestial navigation, the way
本当だ。
that
というこっちゃ。よいしょ。
Amelia Earhart and Fred Noonan did it. I mean, they unfortunately they never managed to get there. They were lost, yeah, I did that, and with of course fantastic piloting of Alison Johnson. Of course, I only did half of the job, and yeah, it is fantastic. It's gonna be my first time doing, celestial navigation in real life. I've only done it like virtually in MSFS.
Hopefully doing it virtually in place will set you up to do an okay job in real life. So that's really cool, Ken.
All right, Arash, I think I saw you were getting really close to the Heartland covered bridge.
Yes.
So
right
Jane, I
here.
haven't quite got to the Rockies yet, so another good opportunity maybe to switch to someone else's point of view.
I'm over the. Oh, I'm also over the Lethbridge Viaduct.
And I'm at that sky bridge.
M346 って昨日リリースされた飛行機かな。買わなかったけど。
This is the one you hold your breath for?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not excited about that.
Is it
I
covered
think,
just for weather? Or
Yes,
is there
this
another reason?
this is something. Oh, go ahead. Warner.
I think if you use an extra 300, you could probably hold your breath.
Or it's special, has a shorter wingspan, making it easier to fly through there.
In real life, it only has one Union Jack, though. The top one is Canadian flag, and the left one is New Brunswick flag.
Oh, nice.
Arash, we're getting a request from chat to fly through the bridge. Maybe with your drone camera, you can do it.
Yeah,
Try
with the
that.
drone camera, sure.
Try with the drone cam.
Drone camera.
No, do it with the drone camera.
Drone, yeah.
Drone.
Oh, it doesn't
So
let me.
to answer the earlier question, the reason these bridges are covered, they're covered in wood, and this is from
Yeah.
like back in the 1800s. They would build these bridges covered to weatherproof them. Wood would kind of get soaked and rot in the rain, and so to extend the life of the bridge, they would put these.
お、なんかかっこいいレーサーみたい。レーサーなんだろう
Common
な。
all throughout the Maritimes. In
Leesa
Canada.
です
They're
よ。
starting to disappear in recent decades. But this one, the one in Heartland, is sort of a historic site now because it does hold the world record for being the longest covered bridge in the entire world.
And I think it's unique to wooden bridges because, as you say, they weather very quickly when they're exposed. Now, as soon as they started using other materials, they didn't have to cover them, which saved them a lot of money.
Alright, I've switched over to factual goals for you to see which one.
I am just spinning around to see the Lethbridge Viaduct. I was actually here last weekend. I'm just pulling a UE. There we go. So it's the span, it's that steel span that you can see going across the river here.
It's huge.
It's huge.
It is
It's really
brilliant,
quite
yeah.
impressive.
Now that's just for trains, right?
I believe that's
I believe so. Yes, there's no like automobile road going along it.
I want to give a quick shout out. I think he's here. Mahama Blend is one of our Japanese pilots. Actual on Twitter last week posted a real life photo of the Lethbridge Viaduct.
I'm standing right about here.
Yeah, and then as part of the Canada screenshot competition, Mahama Blend did an exact recreation in the sim of Actual's real life photo, down to the same camera angle, same position, same time of day, same weather conditions. It was one of the most impressive sim versus reality photos I've ever seen. So great
That
job,
was awesome.
Mahama
Just
Blend.
like being there.
That's cool.
Switch now to Sintom's screen because he's got a. Which POI is this?
いや、なかなかの調子の悪さですな。
Cloudbreaker Skybridge in Whistler.
Wow. That looks like it might wave in the wind.
Yeah.
You know? Has anyone been on it?
I have not.
Welcome to
Scary.
everyone new joining our stream today. We are currently doing a flight plan with CDL, but we're switching between different areas around Canada. LCD screen if you're following along the route. There's some planes around you.
Huge pack. Entire swarm of planes, a veritable flying circus. I got a GB off my wing. Looks like a Beechcraft Baron right there. Pit Special behind me now. And then up ahead, we're now just on the outskirts of the Canadian Rockies. I'll just point out a few things right here. This highway turnoff, if you continue going straight, which is what we're doing, this is the highway into Banff National Park.
Nice.
If you turn and go left and follow this road, this is the turnoff into Kananaskis Provincial Park. Amongst Albertans, or specifically Calgarians, because this is sort of in the backyard of Calgary, the saying is that the tourists go to Banff and the locals go to Kananaskis. Now, factual, you and I have been to both. Which do you think is more impressive, Banff or Kananaskis?
Well, Banff, you can get a lot more like, designer clothing and it's a lot like fancier accommodations and all of that. So if that's what you're looking for, then that's Banff. But if you just want a quiet time hiking in the mountains or actually doing some mountain climbing, Kananaskis is probably the best bet.
Yeah, I would say I would agree with you. Just to get to be one with nature, I think Kananaskis is probably superior, and to have like the classic Canadian Rocky Mountain tourism experience, I would recommend Banff. And we'll talk a lot more about Banff as we get closer to the park, which we're almost there. As you can see, we're just about to enter the mountains now.
I'm at the Alex Fraser Bridge.
Yeah, Jane, we've probably got about 3 or 4 minutes until the next thing I want to point out. So if we want to jump to someone else's point of view really quick.
All right, I'll switch to Peter. Looks like you got something. Wow. What are we looking at?
The Alex Fraser Bridge in Vancouver.
Oh, really?
As you can see,
Named after Alex Fraser.
it's
Oh,
one
stop.
of the two construction bridges. I'm sure you know what's called. What is it called?
The Fraser River, in fact.
Yes, the Fraser River.
Alex Fraser Bridge crosses the Fraser River in Vancouver.
As one does, yes.
Yeah.
That sounds perfectly plausible. And it's very big and then high, and you see how long it is. It's huge. It's very very
It's
long.
quite some pixels wide.
Because it's almost like it's 3 kilometers or something.
まただ。なんか調子悪いの回線。
You can talk metric.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can use the metric
Sure.
system.
Kilometers work.
Just as long as
テイ
you're
ク
not
オフ
flying a
の
767
怖い
from
ってことなんですね。
Oh no, that's good.
We are on the
But yeah.
Southeast Asia server, and we are just entering Banff National Park. Is that right?
We're almost on the outskirts of
Almost,
Banff National
yeah.
Park.
Okay.
So here, as you can see, look, there's a big industrial quarry here where there's, mining activity, I think drilling limestone into the side of this mountain. So obviously inside the national park itself, that would be forbidden because it's protected land. But right here on the outskirts of the park, they still allow industrial activity.
The total length is 2.6, and I thought 3.
And as you can see, the highway snaking below us. I know Factual and I have both driven along this road many, many times en route to Banff, either to go hiking in the summer or ski trips in the winter, or just to get away and enjoy nature. Probably, I would estimate at least 50 times I've driven along this highway, and it's one of the most beautiful scenic drives you can ever do anywhere in the world. And it's going to be a great pleasure to fly along it today. By the way, in terms of navigation, we are literally doing IFR, I follow roads, for the entire flight today. Just follow this highway northbound, or generally northbound once we get to Banff, and that's all you need to do. You don't need an autopilot, you don't need a flight plan or waypoints, just follow the length of the highway.
Once with my dad had to do a annoying detour along the Icefields Parkway because of wildfires. We had to take another highway, so we were forced to take that road. It was so annoying.
What a shame.
Oh, Tom, how did you survive?
It was so boring.
Were you? I did.
Factual and I did that once. It was on Canada Day of 2005, and we were driving to Edmonton from Calgary. And normally, if you take the main highway, the QE2, the name for the late Queen Elizabeth II, it's approximately a 3-hour drive from Calgary to Edmonton. But we weren't in any rush to get there, so Factual and I decided to take the scenic route, and we drove all along this highway through Banff and through Jasper. It took us about 12 hours instead of 3 hours, but it was a much, much prettier drive.
I am in Regina right now.
Everyone laughed.
It's pronounced Regina, even though, every other
遠い
instance
と
of
ころ
this
じ
word
ゃ
is Regina
I
because it's
found that out
actually
in-
named after.
まただ、切れた。乗った。
named after Queen Victoria.
忙しい。
And so this is Regina's International Airport,
Okay.
a point of interest in the sim. There's a few other points of interest here too. And Regina is interestingly laid out. So it's named after Queen Victoria, and of course her husband was Prince Albert. And so the two cross streets in downtown Regina and
いい
that
と
extend
こじ
all the way to the
ゃ
city are Victoria and Albert that crisscross the city. Very
Right.
patriotic to the.
Patrick, we can come back to you in a second. Jane, if you just go back to my screen for one moment, I want to point something out.
Okay.
Below us is the town of Canmore, Alberta, nestled in the Rockies. Beautiful mountain town, just on the outskirts of the national park. So Banff National Park, the entrance gate is just a few more kilometers straight ahead along the highway. So there's more development is allowed here. So this is sort of like if you want to buy a property and live in the mountains, this is sort of as close as you can get to Banff National Park without actually being in the national park. And then the town of Canmore itself nestles below these three mountain peaks. These are known as the Three Sisters. And you get a fabulous view of these three peaks when you're in Canmore. I don't know the name, but each one has an individual name. Unfortunately, I don't know what those are.
Zella and no. No, those are the evil stepsisters in Cinderella. Sorry,
Yes.
I got mixed up.
Yeah, but these three
Common
peaks here are known as the Three
misconception.
Sisters. And yeah, here's Canmore. I've spent many days in Canmore staying on overnight trips and stuff because it is a lot cheaper to stay in Canmore than it is to stay in Banff if you're not planning to camp. You're staying at like a motel or something.
I'm at the world's largest axe site
Okay.
right now.
Oh wow. I would love to see that. That is so fun. Okay.
What's it made of? Well, it's good to see the flag beside it because then it puts it in perspective.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And if you had a person standing down there below, it would look even bigger.
it's funny that it's not that far from me, from where I live, and I didn't know it existed.
Have you gotten to see it?
Yeah.
yet?
It's 15 meters long apparently, and like 55 tons.
Yeah.
It was built in 1991.
Okay. I wonder
I
why
believe
they
that's
made it.
in Nakawik, New Brunswick. Jane, I know the answer to that question.
Okay.
They made it because it's a tiny town along the
忙しい
Trans-Canada
忙しい
Highway, and
ど
they
こでも
wanted motorists to
あの
stop and take a picture and
お
spend money
ー
in
や
the
べえ
town. That's 100% the true story.
That's a good idea because I would stop there to see that.
Take a picture.
Forders or anything you're ready to show yet?
もういいとこじゃ
Sure.
の
I've been
ー
circling around Ottawa right now, but our capital of Canada, you know, where all the politicians are. There's so much hot air here that the snow doesn't stay very long.
Ah.
I've actually worked here a lot. I've spent the whole winter here one time, flying up every week and flying back every Friday night. So I was only home for the weekends, and I got to know Ottawa very well. This is I did a lot of contract work here, but where I'm flying over right now, just to give you guys a perspective, the bridge is a POI that's been made here in the Canada Upgrade. It's a beautiful looking bridge connecting both provinces. So where I am right now, I'm on the Ottawa River at the back end of the Parliament buildings. You'll see them just off my left wing here. I'm just going to fly over them right now. And these are the Parliament buildings at the heart of Ottawa, which is our capital of Canada, as I mentioned. So these buildings have been done very well. You can see they look great. These are, you know, East Block, West Block, and then the main building itself. I'll turn around and come back at it on a front view. But I do want to show a couple of things here. One of them is, and I'll use this view because this isn't a bad way to show scenery. I want to show you, I'll come back on a front view, but there's behind me, just leaving quickly here, is Chateau Laurier, which is a very famous hotel, there's all kinds of ghost stories about that hotel and residents who have been there. And so it's very old and creaky. I've been there a few times. That isn't the place I normally stay, but I have been there a few times
あ
just to see what it was
今日
like
は
to
大
sense the
隊
story
長
of
が
the
見え
hotel.
ましたよ
And there is a lot of creaky sounds in that old hotel. It was built probably, I don't know the exact date, but it was built probably around the same time. That's right off my nose here. Built right around the same time as, sorry you guys, right here.
Yeah.
At the same time as the Parliament buildings right there.
I
Look
would
at that
stay
old
there.
thing. I would stay there. It's beautiful.
I want the tower
Now,
to
right
myself.
beside it here, directly underneath my plane, is what's called the Rideau Canal, and that's a bunch of locks, and that is a working canal. In the wintertime, if you look behind me here, there it is. It's thin. I mean, from the air, it looks very tiny, but in the wintertime, it freezes over for miles and miles and miles, and you can rent skates, or bring your own skates, ice skates, and skate it. And there's little areas all
大
along
隊
the
長
way
今日もありがとう
here.
ございます
If I can keep my airspeed up. Oof. Let's get that airspeed up. And don't want to stall over the Rideau Canal. Yeah, look at this. I'm really daring now. But you know, this is actually, it's not rendered, you know, you won't find this rendered perfectly, but you can see it from the air. It looks great. And the whole idea is that it goes for miles and people skate it. It's such a sight to see as a tourist attraction.
Get a beaver
Now,
tail.
a lot of times I was here, I stayed at a hotel called the Alberton Bay, and it was a converted condo, which was turned into a hotel. So the rooms were big. It was every room is a suite, of course. And I say that because it gives you enough room to make your own meals and kind of live there. Here's the Parliament buildings here, the main one off my left here. And you can go, it's wide open. You can go for tours. It's open to the public. It's the public's house. And we can all go and have a tour. And you can also get a free brochure. There's a PDF that I did send you, Jane, but I'm not sure if you want to distribute it. But it gives you an idea of the Parliament buildings, what they're there for, and how the Parliament actually works, and gives people an insight onto how the Canada federal government works. Along the way here, right below the left strut here of my wing is the Supreme Court of Canada. That's it there, the building going by. And along here also, right on the next building, if I can fly looking out my left window here, is the that's the National Archives of Canada. That building, that square building I'm just passing. Oof, that square building. That square building, Peter's going to say, I know what you did there, Howard. I think everybody in the stream knows what happened there. I stole it. But that square building is the National Archives of Canada, where every Canadian author has to send, I mean, if they have an ISBN number right here off the nose of my plane, every Canadian author has to send 2 copies of their book to be, you know, to officially stay there in the archives. And I'm very fortunate enough that Elaine, my wife, has 4 books that she's written, and they're stored right there. Even if she never sells them, they'll certainly have at least 2 of each inside there in Ottawa in the capital. And it's something I didn't know. I didn't know authors did that. But there's a lot of history here, you guys. There's one thing I do want to point out before we move on to another streamer and shows another part of Canada. One thing I want to point out is back here, I'm not very good at flying out the left window for long periods of time, I can see that. But at the front of the building, and I might have to just pause it and use the drone camera, at the front of the Parliament building is something called the Confederation Flame, or many will call it the Eternal Flame. So I'm going to pause it right there for a second.
Okay.
Now this flame is actually something that was made, and you know, I'm not going to do a bunch of history, you guys, because we're not here for a big history lesson, but every year, my wife was a school teacher for 30 years, and every year she would take the children to school buses from Toronto all the way to Ottawa and stay there overnight. And right here is where the peace flame
なんかこう
is. A lot of people call it the peace flame, but it's actually
も
the
しかして
Confederation
見るべ
flame
きラン
or
ド
the
マークが
eternal flame.
なんかうろちょ
And
ろし
what
てる
that
から
does
みんな
is
あこれ
that
か
was started
なんだろう
1966. They put the flame there, and it was actually the prime minister at the time, which was Lester B. Pearson.
お
And you guys
立
might,
派な
and a
建
lot
物
of
で
us are
はある
flyers here in the
確かに
stream. You might remember that the Toronto main YYZ airport, or YYZ airport, is actually named after Lester B. Pearson, the same person who lit this flame to commemorate the 100 years of Canada's Confederation. So it's now called the Confederation Flame. And if I can just show you one quick picture of what that looks like, there's others you can find, you guys, but here's what it looks like if you were to see it in real life. I just pulled this one right off of probably Wikipedia or Google.
立
And
派な
this flame
建
actually
物
has
じゃ
all the
い
provinces, plaques, and all the provinces. Well, you can't see that on my screen. One second. I can make that happen. It's right here. There we go. And so that flame is always running. It's always burning. And these are the plaques all the way around the middle. and around the very outside are all of the flowers of each of the provinces, and this is going the whole time. Now we just finished our
落ちる落ちる落ちた。もうどうなっとんのこのネット回線は。
And my mug is sitting over on the other table. I was just going to show you my 150 mug. And the current Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, was there to, again, at this exact same location because of the big 158 celebration that we had. So, that's pretty cool that's been, burning the whole time, and that's what it's there for. I think just recently, I think in 1996, Nunavut joined, and they just finally fixed this plaque to finally include Nunavut in here, probably 2017 by the time they rebuilt this thing. And, they have to rebuild it with the flames still running. They can't just douse the flames. Anyway, I thought I'd give you guys a bit of that insight about our capital here in Canada. It's cold there. It definitely gets cold in the winter. If I left Toronto and flew into Ottawa, it would be 2 to 5 degrees colder. So there was some pretty bitter winters that I spent here, but everything stays more pristine because of the cold. Let's put it that way. It's better just to stay indoors in the middle of winter here. Yeah. All right.
Gina, if we can jump back to my screen, I've got a POI to point out en route, the main flight plan. Something that Porter was talking about. He mentioned the Chateau Laurier, the Grand Hotel in Ottawa. We're now flying over the Banff Springs Hotel in Banff, Alberta, and this is part of the same chain of hotels. Back in the late 1800s, CP Rail and Pacific Rail, which owned and built the railway that connects one end of the country to the other, as a way to capitalize on their investment. Instead of just moving freight, they also wanted to move passengers and tourists. And so what they did is, along each major stop along the railway, they built one of these grand, fabulous hotels, which at the time, and even still to this day, are among the nicest and fanciest hotels in the entire country. So the Chateau Laurier in Ottawa was one. Royal York in Toronto was another. Chateau Frontenac in Quebec City, another one that's quite famous, also a POI in the World Update. But we're going to be passing 2 of those on today's flight plan. The first of which is right here, the Banff Springs Hotel in Banff, Alberta, as you can see below me. And then the other will be the Chateau Lake Louise, which will be probably about another 10 minutes flying time up the highway from Banff. You and I have looked into staying at the Banff Springs Hotel. It's something crazy like $600 or $700 per night.
Oh,
cheapest
it's
room.
so pricey.
Wow. Okay.
But as you can see, it's a pretty nice hotel, and the scenery around here is spectacular. And this is, I'll just move the camera back a little bit. This is the town of Banff itself. This smaller mountain that's kind of right in the center of the city at the confluence of those 2 rivers, that's called Tunnel Mountain. And it's about an hour to hike to the top of that as a reasonably brisk pace. There's a local woman who lives in Banff. What the exact number is. She has been hiking up Tunnel Mountain every single day. That's how she gets her exercise. And she holds the record for most climbs up Tunnel Mountain.
Summer. Nice.
Oh, nice.
Awesome.
Flying over an important location, not because it's the capital of New Brunswick, just because it's where City's parents and I live.
Ah.
Yeah, in fact, I can see my parents' home. I'm not going to point out which building it is, but on your view right now, I can see my parents' home.
That's so cool.
Where did you say that was, Rash? Moncton?
Fredericton.
Fredericton, capital of New Brunswick.
That's the St. John River that runs through Fredericton.
Tom, do you want me to show off your view?
Sure.
If he's in the Rockies, it's always going to be gorgeous.
Yeah, especially
Right?
in a hot air balloon.
Oh my gosh. Isn't that beautiful? It's right out of a movie.
Wow.
I've got some friends.
Whoa.
Wait, that
Wow.
plane.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Whoa! Is that like an AI add-on, or are those all other players that are joining you?
You can, from the hot air balloon, there's a tablet, and you can
Oh, cool.
generate other balloons.
まただ。
Actually,
Only
went to
drawback
a,
right now is the
festival.
stationary.
Other buttons a few weeks ago.
あ、まだ落ちた。
It was like
もうここら辺にマウスを持っておくしかないの。
Oh, they're so fun. So different from a plane too.
Yeah.
They just have such a like there's quite a bit of noise, but it's like a hush, kind of like a shh.
あいかんいかんい
It's
かん
just so calming, and it moves so gently.
Yes, Bleeman, it is the HPG board.
It's a Hype Performance Group. If you want to search for it online, and they just released that earlier this week.
Well, this
Today.
morning.
Yes, more.
Today. Oh, I am getting a phone call. It's probably delivery. One second. Oh, sorry.
And it's still slow.
Oh,
He's
Um,
probably getting Tim Hortons delivered.
Yeah,
Is that your Tim Hortons delivery, CDL?
getting a double.
And if you get a bit bored while
No
ballooning,
way.
there is some
That's a delivery. I'm
entertainment.
gonna go AFK. 1 second. Sorry.
That is so funny.
Oh, well, there
If the
Was a
view
high
isn't
wow years
if the
ago.
view isn't enough
No
for you,
kidding.
here's a game you can play to distract
Yeah.
yourself from the gorgeous
we go.
view.
Game.
What a classic game
That
too.
is so funny.
また切れた。
I see you got something pulled up for her. If you want to switch, do it later.
Yeah, no, we could do it just for a quick
Okay.
segue. Doesn't have to stay long.
Sure.
My sister sent me this, and I hadn't seen it in many years. This is
Yeah.
me at
Oh.
19 years old. 19 years old, and so there I am in the Canadian Armed Forces, you guys, and so that was and the significance of this. I didn't really want to point it out, but the significance of this is that it was my first airplane ride when I went to boot camp out of Trenton, Ontario, to Cornwallis, Nova Scotia, in a 707, which was a military 707 at the time. And there's that feeling of being pushed back in your seat as you're taking off. Just like my first flight was in a 707, and I was enlisting in the Canadian Armed Forces. But that's what that is. So I thought I'd show it to you. My sister sent it to me. And, wow, I really was young.
Cool.
But
Well,
we
I-
don't have to dwell on it, Jane. I just wanted to show it.
また切れた。
Can't really follow that.
お願い間に合って
But I am close to the
うー
Prince of
忙
Wales
しい。
Hotel in Waterton, so we can show that.
超スリリング。
And Simtom's been here and taken much nicer photos.
Well, I'll cue it up then.
Cue it up.
Yeah, please show that.
You that.
And you've also been here too, I think, Trinkle.
I was here just last weekend, not staying at the hotel itself, but in the area in Waterton National Park. It's just north of Glacier National Park in Montana, just over the Alberta border. And it's gorgeous. It's just these sort of mountains that there's no foothills, like there's no graduating from prairies to mountains. It's just prairies and then sudden mountains.
Yeah.
And this Prince of Wales Hotel,
Yeah.
it was actually named after who became King Edward VIII. But it was the guy who abdicated the throne, who married Wallis Simpson, the divorcee, and abdicated the throne. And then it was Queen Elizabeth II's father, who then became the king.
Ooh.
So that was the Prince of Wales, not Charles, who this hotel was named after.
Okay.
Or William, I guess, because William's now the...
That's correct. Charles is now the king.
Oops. And I'm flying into a tree.
That's how
Away
it goes,
just in
right? You
time.
All right. So we're
I
continuing.
almost stalled over the Ottawa River.
And here's a picture
My
of
apologies,
Sim
folks.
Tom.
Having to go AFK. I am back now. We are continuing onwards towards Lake Louise, and that's a beautiful photo, Tom, of the Prince of Wales
Oh my
Hotel.
gosh.
But that, of course, doesn't show the most beautiful part. It's just
It's a gorgeous spot,
Woo-hoo.
but that's
Whoa.
a beautiful photo of a gorgeous
Makes me
spot.
angry that this
The weather looks
existed.
very ominous there. That day.
Yeah.
But like in a
Neat.
really cool way,
Yeah.
Pockets of blue. That's awesome.
And it's also the only peace park, I believe, between two countries.
That's correct.
It's one with Glacier National Park.
And we did a fly-in there. I believe it was our very first fly-in of 2022. We flew from Waterton Lakes in Canada to
また切れた。
Park in the United States, which combined makes up Waterton Glacier International Peace Park. All right, so we're continuing on the highway towards Lake Louise. This mountain up here is incredibly striking if you ever see it in real life. It's called Castle Mountain, and it looks awesome. It looks like the type of thing that if you were a supervillain, you would build your lair on top of your fortress on top of this mountain. It's so cool. I don't know if anyone has a good photo of it.
Villain's done that yet? That's my question.
Let's see if I can find a good. I don't think I have a photo myself, but maybe online I can find one.
I'm
Yeah.
here just over Bird Bridge.
Peter? Which bridge is this?
Bird Bridge. Bird. Well, it's
And what,
what?
what city are
It's
we
an
in?
Art Deco style steel
Are
truss
we in
bridge
Vancouver
constructed in
City?
1930.
There we go.
Is this
There we
Vancouver?
go. Yes, it's Vancouver. Yeah, my balloon doesn't go that fast.
このちっちゃい飛
Oh
行
no,
機
I
も
saw
いい
it on
ね
West earlier.
Right.
今日は紫
That's
だ
an awesome picture.
今日はってことはないけど
The Red
人が
Baron
違う
must
か
have
も
a
しれないで
really
すけど
good
ね
resolution on
Yo.
his screen because he noted that I'm eating poutine.
Are you really factual?
Yeah, yeah, you must have us on the big screen. So yeah, I got some poutine to eat during our Canada stream. It's
ダンシング
obviously
ロケット
a
上下
regional
反対じゃない
food
こ
from
の字
Montreal, but you can get some pretty good poutine across Canada. So of course it's fries, gravy, and cheese curds.
背面
which
飛
is the
行
most
した時
important
に
part.
読
You
める
can't
ように
just
なっ
shred
てん
any
のか
kind
な
of cheese over top of it. It's not
面
a
白いですななんかよくわかんない
Shredded
けど
mozzarella is the faux pas. Do not make your poutine with shredded mozzarella.
Then you're just making cheese and fries.
Now, I of course also took part in the Canadian cuisine. I've got an absolute classic of a Canadian special treat, possibly the most popular sort of sweet item that people in Canada might eat. I have got a box of Timbits.
Tidbits.
Timbits. Share.
Nice.
And because it's way too hot here today, I did not get a Tim's coffee, so instead I got a Tim's ice cap.
Was that your delivery?
No, I got this.
You drank that coffee fast.
But yeah, I'm gonna dive into my Timbits as we get to Lake Louise.
Well, I was in Canada last week and I bought something from Canada, from the airport. I have maple cream cookies, but Hello Kitty themed. Which I'm very-
Wow.
I love
Maple cream.
It's shape of a leaf. So I'll leave those two.
Nothing says
Is
Canada.
that a new
like
addition to
maple
your
cream.
treat card?
Yes, it's for the treat card.
Well, I got maple fudge, but now I'm really disappointed that it's not in the shape of Hello Kitty.
あそうだ
Still gonna taste
Yeah,
good,
but-
but
You can mold it in shape of that.
I can, but I'm eating it already. So
Look at that view, by the way, of Castle Mountain right there. I just think that's such an impressive rock face.
I'm currently eating also an original Canadian delicacy.
What? Pineapple.
Pineapple pizza,
Pineapple
Hawaiian
pizza?
pizza.
I was
Chat.
gonna say for the occasion I changed the background.
Yeah, I have
But I
my
cannot eat it.
catering service here.
Ooh, what do you have?
What do you have, Josh?
Catering service.
Ooh, is that tortilla? That
Yes,
looks like
we-
tortilla.
Oh my god.
Oh no. Who made that for you?
Wow.
I'm gonna actually show you a picture with better resolution in a
Sure.
second. This is like the served portion,
Wow.
so that I don't destroy things here.
So I know Juliet Papalima, if he's still in chat, he is so incredibly jealous of you right now because his mother, my grandmother, is from Quebec, and she made the most amazing tortilla, and it was always a treat every year at Christmas to make a batch.
Wow.
I
Cannot wait to
have
see a
one
picture of
final
that.
food and drink
Okay.
item. So it's is it 5 o'clock in the Maritimes now?
Yep.
It
Yeah,
is kind of-
5:30 in Newfoundland. So I can drink an alcoholic beverage. I have
That's
a
true.
Caesar. So it's a bloody Caesar, which you just call it a Caesar here, and it was actually invented in Calgary. Basically like a Bloody Mary, but with clam juice.
Yeah.
drink Bloody Mary and then think, what would make this better? It's
You know what
Clam
makes
juice.
it,
That sounds
you
so
know what
gross.
this will improve?
Okay,
That
Jane, I
that
have.
cocktail is considered a Canadian classic, and I personally hate them. They're so gross.
Who doesn't
Okay,
love a good
can
mix
you
of
see?
tomato, clam, and vodka? With some celery.
Yeah,
I've got
that's a
my
no
Tim
thanks.
Hortons coffee here.
Yeah. There it is.
I don't know if that
Canada
goes
150.
up on the screen. Look, the Canada 150 mug, and that's actually homebrew because I didn't go out and get my Tims, but this time it was just a homebrew with the pods. You can get the pods, and you can buy them in big quantities, even from Costco. And this one happens to be the decaf version, but yeah, Tim Hortons coffee. And so you guys mentioned Timbits a few times, but maybe some of our viewers have never heard of them. Those are Tim Hortons donut bits. The holes in the middle, that's what they are. The holes in the middle of the donuts, and they call them Timbits. And they're a classic here in Canada, of course. Right?
Oh,
You always grab some of those when you go to a meeting.
Pepsi and a May West or a Joe Louis. Jukebox, you've got to be from Quebec to make a suggestion like that.
うん、ラダーも結構ちゃんと動いてるのが見えるようになったのかな。
Jane, do you have my screen or is it frozen?
いろんな動いてるのも見えるし。
Oh, okay. It's weird that it's frozen because I'm flying. Okay.
All right, we are coming up to Lake Louise. We'll be there in another minute or so. On our right, we'll see. Now it's going to be summertime, so we won't see the snow.
黄色スピードに入ります。
Pass in the mountainside where the Lake
Up.
Louise ski area is. This is a World Cup caliber ski resort, so professional downhill skiers will compete here every year.
おお。
And because of the climate in Banff, we get snow earlier than most of the alpine resorts in Europe. So traditionally, the Lake Louise World Cup ski event is the one that opens the season for professional downhill skiing. And for many years, at Lake Louise, the great American skier Lindsey Vonn absolutely dominated this course. This was like her specialty. She was just untouchable
Mata切れた。
at Lake Louise.
Great
He's
American
legit.
athlete. Part of our Canadian history.
Can we talk about the pineapple pizza real quick? 'Cause
Yeah, let's do
I
it.
didn't realize it was Canadian, so I want to know more
I
about
just
it.
finished it.
It's Canadian.
Canadian in air
Canadian.
quotes.
Ow.
That's
So
So some Canadians thought, how we can root
You know,
pizza with
well,
pineapple on it. That's how
Peter, not quite. You're on the right track. It was actually a Greek man, a
living in
Greek
Canada.
immigrant living in Toronto who had a Greek pizzeria in Toronto, had the idea of making a ham and pineapple pizza, and
Why?
that's how the Hawaiian pizza was invented by a Greek immigrant living in Toronto, which I think is a fabulous story showing Canada's proud and long history of multiculturalism and welcoming people from all over the world, no matter where they come from. And then they create great things like the Hawaiian pizza and
They
share
did.
it with the entire planet.
They did create great things and Hawaiian pizza.
It has to be canned pineapple, not the fresh stuff.
There you can see now on my screen, there's the Lake Louise ski area. You can see
Oh,
like
cool.
all the clouds and the trees. And then just coming up right here, we'll make a left-hand turn on the same way autopilot. Here is Lake Louise itself, and one of the new POIs in the Canada World Update that came last week. Chateau Lake Louise. Again, this was one of the CP Rail grand hotels that they built coast to coast across the country. And
また切れた。
the president and CEO of CP Rail at the time, upon
Mm,
seeing,
mouse
Banff
to go.
Springs and Lake Louise, they wanted the Western
Yeah, I'm
province
gonna-
has a very low population in those days.
なんか
And so the president of CP Rail wanted to encourage more visitors from the population centers of Toronto and Montreal and Halifax in eastern Canada to come and explore the West and spend money on their trains and on their hotels. And so
Cool.
famously, he said, seeing the majestic beauty of Banff National Park, a quote from the president of CP Rail at the time said, "If we can't export the scenery, then we'll import the tourists." And that was the driving factor in building these hotels to encourage them to come out and visit these beautiful parts of the country. So this is the Chateau Lake Louise. I have stayed at this hotel, unlike the Banff Springs. Actually, I spent a few nights here once.
Got
can switch
No,
them
it's
there.
it's no less affordable or no more
なん
affordable
か
than the best
またランドマークがあるっぽいですな。
But it was a very special occasion, so we splurged. But this is beautiful
Beautiful
Lake
spot
Louise.
though. No bad pictures at Lake Louise.
Yeah. I noticed in our
stayed there too.
screenshot competition this past week of the 15 runners-up and one champion that we selected, 3 out of the 16 were all from this area in Lake Louise. So certainly one of the most picturesque and beautiful parts of the entire country. And that's some great drone camera work from SimTom.
Well,
Of course.
That is gorgeous. Look at that.
It does get paid.
Wow.
Not
Does
to
get
be
paid.
just to drink.
The lake does freeze in the winter, and historically every year the staff of the Chateau Lake Louise build an ice castle on the lake, which is great fun. And you're also allowed to go skating on it. The hotel itself is obviously a private company, so you need to pay to stay at the hotel, but you can walk through it and go to the restaurants and bars and other shopping amenities and stuff inside. But the entire lake, because this is part of a national park, all the hiking trails around here are open to the public. Like this entire area, really. Like if you want to go skating on the lake, you don't need to be a guest at the hotel to do that. If you want to go canoeing or kayaking on Lake Louise, you can do that as well. So there's lots of ways to explore this area without having to spend $600 or more a night to stay at the Chateau Lake Louise.
Yeah, great hiking.
あ
Great
れは
cross-
船がついてる飛行機だ。
Ice
いい
climbing
な
as well in the winter.
湖に着陸できて。
Have you all done skiing and ice climbing?
I've done
Yeah, we've done-
skiing. I've done ice climbing.
Yeah, I haven't ice climbed before. Sounds pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's impossible.
It's nearly impossible. Yes.
I've skated though, and a lot of Canadians I know skated. So some of us had skating rinks in our backyard.
Yeah, the
And,
backyard
every
rink.
winter, and my family. I mean, I came from a family of 8 kids, so we had our own hockey team, and you know, we had our own we had our own skating rink in the backyard that all the neighbors would come and play hockey with us.
Well, not to take it back to food, but I have Captain Rash's picture of the meal he's eating. If you want to talk about that for a second, I'm going to pull it up.
Let's see that.
Okay, wow. I have so many questions. Like, what's the pink thing?
Oh, chicken bones.
Chicken
That's a
bones.
Canadian
Those are, yeah,
classic.
Chicken
basically we
bones.
have a representation of all Atlantic Canada here.
Okay.
So we have chicken bones, of course, as Sidi mentioned. That's from Nova Scotia. And we have screech from Newfoundland. And we have ciders.
Technically,
You can
from
start
Jamaica,
fires with that.
but famous in Newfoundland.
Local New Brunswick ciders on the right side. And of course, the main dish, which is tortilla, is an Acadian dish. And it has potatoes from EEI, Prince Edward Island. So we have the entire Atlantic Canada covered here. And I have right now. It's going to be my first time actually. So
First
yeah,
time
as
ever.
I have actual
Careful.
crash
You have a
5
you have a cod standing by. You have to kiss the cod after you shoot a shot of screech.
Yeah, we don't have a cod, unfortunately. So I'm gonna just
It's really for the
Now,
best.
don't light a match. Do not light a match.
Luck.
Now, well, Captain Raj is down. You can shut
does,
it.
does it count if I kiss a unicorn instead?
It counts. It counts.
Okay.
You got one of those, Sandy.
So screech is a dark.
なんかすごいくるくる回ってる。なんじゃろあれ。スピンの技かな。
Long may your big jib draw. I don't know what that
あ、また
is.
切れた。
You have to say
That, that's
what
part
you
of the
say.
ceremony
It's
apparently.
a sailing expression, yeah.
There we go.
It's a sailing
Cheers.
expression.
Cheers.
怖えー。おう、すっかり氷だ。
Oh my god.
なんじゃこれ。氷の橋だ。
I mean, it was
Don't go
good,
with.
but it was... Yeah, I wasn't expecting it.
変なもん見
The,
たな。
the significance of screech is that it's a dark Jamaican
変なものか、いいもの
that
か
was、
いいものかもしれん。
Newfoundland, popular with sailors and so on. And these days, if you ever meet anyone from Newfoundland, they are, and I mean this with the utmost sincerity, they are the most boisterous, friendly, outgoing people probably on the entire planet. ever seen the musical "Come From Away" that's set in Newfoundland, and that is a very accurate, it's a very accurate picture of what people from that province are like. But if you want to become an honorary Newfoundlander, the traditional way to do it is the initiation ceremony. Is you get what's called being screeched in, where you have to shoot a shot of screech, as Captain Arash just did, and then following that, you must kiss a codfish. And that's how you become an honorary Newfoundlander.
Emma has done that ceremony.
Yeah.
for real,
I have
so
also
she's
done that
certified.
ceremony.
Another bridge here.
Another bridge.
Yeah.
Another bridge in Vancouver.
Ooh, I think I know what this one is.
Which is it?
Oh, Whiskey Canuck says not seeing a lot of poutine on this screen. Factual. That's your cue.
Oh.
Hold it up to the camera. I think you're the only one that has one.
I was gonna put it in like a fancy dish, but honestly, like this is how you get poutine, is just in a little cardboard box. So there you go. Totally authentic. It kind of looks like the cardboard box because it's fries and gravy and cheese. I don't know if it's showing up really well, but
Yummy.
delicious.
So just
Flying Fordo says no Canadian dad jokes. Well, the Toronto
持って
Maple
きてた。
Leafs are a Canadian dad joke.
これ落ちるわ。
Rim shot.
だいだー。